mouth is when I'm ocean waves.
Tonight on Nova Legends podcast, I have Patriot coach Sherman Rivers, whose Pioneers play in the state final, Class 6 state final against Hayfield Friday night at the Siegel Center in Richmond. Coach, thanks for coming and congratulations.
Hey, thanks for having me again. This means that we did something good, right?
Yeah, I was getting ready to fire up the Oscar Smith coach. I was getting ready to email Oscar Smith, hey, you want to come on?
Well, I'm glad you didn't have to do that.
Yeah, we're going to call it 757 Legends. So, well, anyway, Coach, I didn't get a chance to see the game. You played Oscar Smith. They had a very local schedule, which meant to me going into the season, they might not have been as optimistic as some of the teams were. Most of the teams down there were playing teams all over the state, holiday tournaments, but they had a very local schedule. Going into the game, what did you think about Oscar Smith? I know we talked, and tell us a little bit about the game. I know you got down early, but I think things went pretty well for you.
Well, I mean, same thing. I knew they were going to be talented. Their guards were very good, especially number one. And the thing about it is them and Lansdowne, they're both young. So all those kids are basically going to be back. Yeah. Oscar Smith only had 2 seniors.
Is that right?
So, yeah. So it's, I thought that we didn't get down. We were up in that game. We got up 10 early. Just getting after it, and then teams, it's the Final Four. Teams aren't just going to go away, so they made a run, and then we closed it within 2, and then probably around 3 or so at half. I think it got closed to 1 at some point in the second half, and then we just really, really guarded, and that's one thing I tell our guys, that the playoffs are a different beast, man, and it's you learn something new every year as a coach. All that high flying and 70 some odd to 80 points. You get in the playoffs, you start to see scores in the 50s, and so it just happens. And even when I was an assistant on that Potomac team in 2014, all that offensive firepower we had on that team, the state championship game was not a high scoring game. It happens like that because teams are really good. You usually run into better athletes, and guys guard and coaches scheme, and they take away the things that you want to do. So it's really important that you can guard in the half court in the playoffs. And we've been doing a phenomenal job of that over the region and state stretch. We're only giving up 41 points a game, which, is, for a team that plays at a fast pace, we're not slowing it down. We're not holding the ball. We're not zoning people up. It's crazy to think about. Now, we haven't shot it great, so we've been in the 50s, and obviously had 47 the other day. But if you're holding teams in the 30s, it doesn't really matter how you shoot the basketball because you're probably going to win.
And if neither team is shooting well, especially at a gym like VCU, a traditional college gym where you have you don't have a backdrop behind the basket that the kids are used to at the high school level, you're going to have to rebound. So did you guys rebound well against? I know they had a 6'8", they had a couple of 6'8".
We did. Yeah. We did. It's obviously we got some guys that can do it by themselves, but we do it by committee. It's not just on Isaiah and Jay to be the big rebounders. Our guards get in there and they mix it up as well. Our guys that come off the bench know that we all got a gang rebound. You can't just turn and look for the ball when you're playing against a 6'8" athlete. So we did a good job of boxing out and keeping them to one shot for the most part. We're going to have to do an amazing job of that on Friday, obviously with he is the best offensive rebounder in the state in David King. So we're just going to have to make sure that we lock in and do things we're supposed to do, because I thought we did a good job of it against them. Obviously, that's a younger kid. He's only a sophomore. So, he's got a couple more years to kind of grow and blossom. But, Isaiah did an excellent job on him. Makai Dillard came in and did an excellent job on him. One possession, Nasir was guarding him in the post because we ended up with a switch. It's one of the best defensive possessions of the game. I actually posted it. And just watching how our guys are moving, helping each other out. It's probably why our district coaches think that I'm double teaming their best players, when in reality, we just play really good team defense.
Yeah. Maybe you should call the IMG coach and tell him about that guy, Oscar Smith. That way he'll show up down at IMG in Florida next year. See, you don't have to worry about. But one player we have not talked about this year, I haven't given him his due, was returning All-Met player Jay Randall. He had a couple of viral defensive plays. I'm not sure how the rest of the game went, but it looked like Jay must have had a big defensive game for you.
He had a good game overall. I mean, I think he ended up with like 12 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks. That's just the way he's been playing the whole season. He has been all over the place, takes charges, he rebounds the ball, he blocks shots, he pushes it out on the break, he finishes over the rim. You know, he gets the key rebounds when you need him. He's been exactly what we were hoping he would be as a senior. And you can just see it. I mean, you know, we run stuff for him to get stuff around the basket. He's shooting over 50% from 3 this year, which is a huge jump for him. He wasn't a shooter before. So obviously he put the work in over the offseason and, you know, playing with a lot of confidence. And, you know, he obviously playing football, you were wondering, he played it for the first time this year, wondering how he was going to adjust to that. And, you know, after about a couple of weeks, he was good to go.
Yeah. I bet you some of the teams wish he would have signed with the football team and they would have said, yeah, look, Jay, you can't play basketball this winter. So, well, look, you've been fortunate. I think most of the postseason you've been at home. Well, at least 5 miles from home. But now you get to do a traditional state tournament run, and you get to get on a bus and go to Richmond. Are you looking forward? Are you looking forward to getting your boys and taking them out of town?
Absolutely. You know, you set a goal for yourself. Our goal was to be at the Siegel Center at the end of the season. Clearly, we came up short of that last year, but you know, these guys dedicated themselves from that day to making sure they got back there, and they've done everything they could to make it happen. Now we just got to go out there and take care of business.
Yeah. Well, last year, Battlefield had a hard time with the red tape of Prince William County getting buses. Something about bus drivers had to be licensed by the county or whatever, but Battlefield was not been able to bring a big crowd down to Richmond. Hayfield, I think they had 4 bus loads. I think this year it's a little bit easier because it's a night game, so kids can get there on their own if they can't get a bus.
Right.
Have you guys been able to organize bus trips for the student body?
Yeah, we're not having issues with that. I'm not sure what they were dealing with over there. And like I said, you already know how I feel about them. But, you know, with it being an 8:00 game, it's not necessarily a huge important thing to have the buses. But we got a couple buses so far, and kids still have some more opportunities to get on there. So we'll see what the total ends up being. But I know that a lot of our kids have already talked about how they're driving down and carpooling and doing everything else like that. So we'll have a good crowd. I'm sure that everybody will be excited, be loud. Hopefully it'll be more red in there than orange, but you know, the type of matchup it is, you know, those two together usually make fire. So hopefully it's a real hot in there, right?
Gonna be hot in there. Can't wait. Well, let's talk about let's talk about Hayfield and maybe Hayfield and South Lakes. Did you get a chance to watch the game, Monday night's game on tape?
I did. I got a chance to watch it. It was great atmosphere. Obviously, with some nonsense that went on in the stands that I saw from that. But, you know, other than
they had
that,
nonsense, people trying to get into the game. We couldn't even go in and watch the game.
Yeah, I heard about that. So it just, you know, it's there's a lot of things that they do now that are very interesting. Like you said, they're trying to impede the energy that can come from actually being in these sorts of events. But we'll end up spending an hour talking about that if we start talking about that. But I got to watch. You know, I thought there were some things that South Lakes did that caused them some issues. Obviously, the way the game was reffed, I heard it was like 40 some odd fouls called. So clearly that was a game that wasn't a whole lot of freedom that was going on from a whistle standpoint. But, you know, Hayfield is who they are. They are going to do what they do. The biggest thing is, can you sustain what you're doing while they have a lull or a misfire? So a lot of times, even in their misfires, they kind of make up for it. And then next thing you know, they go on like a 6-8-0 run. You know, we're very similar in the ways that we play, the ways that we pressure. You know, a lot of good players, a lot of experienced players. So, you know, watch it to a certain degree, but, you know, I've been keeping an eye on them all year. I know a lot of people didn't say it when I said it at the beginning of the year, and they probably were mad at me, but they'll get over it now because I was right. I said it was us and them, and I felt like we were a tier above everyone else at the time, and even when we played the first game. And here we are playing the last game. So
the teams are very similar. Not the tallest teams in the world. Isaiah's a tall player. Greg's a tall player, but they're not necessarily post players.
Right.
Isaiah's a slasher, can shoot. Greg is definitely a wing player. But you guys both teams have great athletes, kids, undersized kids that can rebound, shoot. Both teams have a lot of 3-point shooters, a lot of weapons. Both teams are very deep. I mean, both teams, it's very, very similar team. It's a very good matchup.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, the first game gave everybody they wanted. When we were there, have it come down to a buzzer beater. I don't think that could have ended any perfectly for the fans. Wasn't necessarily what we wanted, but as far as that, hopefully, if it ends up being a good game, it comes down to something like that, and we're on the other side of it. I wouldn't mind it not being close in our favor, but I enjoy the competition. I talked to Los today, so we talk all the time, and we're looking forward to it. And obviously, we're going to compete, even though we're friends. We're not going to be friends during the game, and that's a good thing. So we'll get after it. And like I said, both very good teams, both very talented. They're extremely well coached. I think that our guys are well coached. Our staff does a great job getting our guys prepared. So it's just going to be 8:00 at night on a Friday. It couldn't be any better.
Here and after, we'll refer to them as the orange team. So when you're scouting a team that you've already played, how much do you rely on a game from a long time ago? It's November, so it's almost 4 or 5 months from now. Are you still really looking at them lately? I mean, are they a moving target, or are you going to look at the tape of the matchup? Or are you figuring, well, they may have grown a lot, like we've grown a lot?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're not the same teams that we were on December 1st. They didn't have the kid 22. He didn't even play in that game, and he's a starter. Jay was 3 days off of the football field, so he wasn't near what he is now. I think that all our players have grown in different ways from that point. Isaiah being another one. Some of the guys we got playing off the bench have grown in different ways. So I didn't even watch that game, to be honest with you, to get prepared for this. I've just been watching what they've done lately because, I mean, there are things that we did at that point that we haven't been doing for a month. So to look at a game all the way back in December and expect them to be the same team, that's not realistic when you have a well-coached, very good basketball team. You're going to grow. You're going to do some different things. It might be a couple things here or there that are similar, but it's more so about watching what they've done lately than going back and watching the game from December 1st. And I went over that game enough back then that I don't need to watch it anymore.
Yeah. So what are you most concerned about going into this game? What keeps you up at night, if anything?
I wouldn't necessarily say it keeps me up at night because I'm confident in our guys. But obviously, one thing about them is the live ball turnovers. We talk about being similar. I'm sure it's the same thing they say about us. If you can limit them in the live ball turnovers and play through the physicality and the aggression they have, and playing with active hands on the defensive end, I feel like we have a good chance of getting some shots that we might like out of that. And then obviously being able to defend their guys and we already talked about keeping David off the glass.
Yeah, that's easier said than done, huh, Coach?
You ain't lying. You ain't lying.
Yeah. Well, Coach, what time are you guys going down?
We're going to probably roll out about 1:30. That way we can do the whole school thing and get on the bus and do that. Here it's supposed to rain on Friday, of course, so that makes it a little bit different. And we also got SOLs going on, so it's a lot of stuff to navigate at this point in time. But I'm okay with it. We're going to head out 1:30. We'll make a stop somewhere, shoot around at a gym, grab something to eat after that, and then go on to VCU and just sit and watch the girls' game before.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Well, Coach, I'm talking to Matthew Hatfield at 9:30 today. Who do you think he's going to pick as a winner?
He's going to pick Hayfield.
Oh, you think he tends to be a chalk player, but so you think he's going to go with Hayfield?
I mean, I'm sure that's a lot of people want to pick. I mean, they're the defending champs. Until you beat them, they are who they are.
Yeah.
I say it every year when it comes to our district and our region. Until we lose, it's us. Until it ain't. So we got to go down there and prove that it should be us and not them.
Yeah. Well, Coach, this has been fun. I always enjoy talking to you. It's been a great season. You got them as far as you can take them, and obviously you got some game coaching to do. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be settled on the court. So it's great for these kids. They'll never forget the moment that they're announcing the starting lineup. They'll never forget those moments. It'll stay with them they'll never forget the bus ride.
Right.
These moments will stay with them for the rest of their lives. So congratulations. Absolutely. Yeah. So congratulations on getting them as far as you can go. Yeah. Wish you the best of luck. And, if you guys win, let's come on the on the show next week and give me some of your boys, and we'll hash it up.
Oh, for sure. Sounds like a plan.
Okay, Coach. All right, look, good luck, and I'll see you down there.
All right, thanks, Julian.
All right, buddy. Take care.